Hello, YouTube. It's Alan. I'm here today to talk to you about something that has made my head explode lately, which is heterosexual dating. There are some things about it that really driven have really driven me crazy, and things I do not like at all. And it is new for me because I have never previously had any experiences with heterosexual dating because before I transitioned, I never ever once went on any kind of a date with a guy. So, probably because of that, no one, for example, my mom, never taught me about any of the conventions that go along with that. And apparently, lesbian dating and the expectations and roles that go along with that, or lack thereof, are really different from straight dating. Um, Now, granted, I realize that there are some straight people who date and who really don't go along with traditional gender roles. It just kind of happens that way sometimes with particular people, and that's certainly what I'm looking forward to in the future. Um, Okay, so let me explain a couple things. So, one thing that I've come across is that I feel in this vague sense that it's basically on me to ask women out and to continue asking them out after the first date. Now, this is not true with everybody. Like, for example, recently I did go on some dates with a woman who had spent a lot of time in the lesbian community, and I didn't quite feel that with her. Like, she did ask me out on a couple of the dates, or we kind of came up with it together. So that felt better to me because if I feel like it's on me to do all of the asking for multiple dates with a person, um, it's just confusing because it doesn't really give me a sense of whether they are really into it. Because in the past, how I've been able, or part of how I've been able to tell if somebody's into it is if they ask me if I want to hang out. So if they don't ask, if they expect me to do all the asking, it's so confusing because even if they seem to be a little flirty when we're hanging out, that's so easy to question whether that's actually real or just my wishful thinking. And so if there's nothing concrete like them asking me to get together, then it's just so confusing. And it also makes me feel like I'm coming on too strong even though I don't think that I am. Makes me feel like a stalker or something. So I don't like that. No. And then the main thing that has made my head explode is that some women, but not all, some women who have primarily heterosexual experience seem to expect or assume that the guy is going to pay for everything, dinner, drinks, all the time, and they may not make any move to help pay for anything ever. And so when I first experienced this, I was really blown away because I have never experienced that before with anyone, where the person, whether a friend or a date, just like it's like I take out my card, I look at the bill, I set it down, and then they're just like not saying anything of any kind. And I was like, did I slip into an alternate universe? Um, and for the first date, I get that, well, I mean, I know that the guy is expected to treat, at least for the first date. And so, I mean, I did come into it with some knowledge of that, but to not even have the person even like pretend to offer just to be polite, um, yeah, that blew me away. And so after that, I was like, oh my God, is this just a case of one or two people, or is this a thing? And I asked my brother, who has only dated women, and he said he has not experienced that to that extent ever. And then I asked one of my friends, and he said that he had experienced that, although we haven't had enough time to really actually have a conversation about it, so I'm not sure how he feels about it. Um, so apparently, this happens sometimes where a woman does not make any move or say anything about paying. And oh my god, like, it's not even about money because it's not like I'm on the verge of going broke this week or anything, thankfully. So, I mean, I can pay, but it's about the feelings that this creates, because that type of situation makes me feel completely taken for granted. Um, like, oh yeah, you're paying, whatever, it's how it's supposed to be. Um, which is so different than if somebody's like, oh, no, I'd like to contribute. And you're like, no, no, I'm happy to get this. It's my treat. And they're like, no, really, I am happy to contribute something. I'm happy to split. And you're like, no, I've got it. It's fine. It's my pleasure. And then they're like, oh, okay, thank you so much. Like, that makes you feel good. Makes you feel like you're doing something really nice and that the other person really notices and appreciates it. Um, so, that's the type of treating situation I've experienced in the past. So basically, it's just an issue of feelings, respect, politeness. That's how I interpreted it. Um, and, okay, how many details do I want to get into about this? I could go off and tell detailed stories about these situations, but I probably should not for a variety of reasons. Um, okay, so that happened to me a number of times, and um, like not with a bunch of different people, just in isolated cases. And so that turned me off, and I decided that I was just not up for dating somebody who had those types of expectations or ingrained gender roles because I am not into traditional gender roles. Like, no thank you. So, nope, not happening. Because, for one thing, it makes me wonder, so, in what other aspects of a relationship would they have that type of attitude? Like, that's really not the attitude or expectations or approach that I would want for, like, a sexual situation. Um, yeah, because of my body, like, if you're just gonna lay there, like, yeah, it's not totally working. But that's a whole other thing. But I was concerned about that. So I was like, nope, done. Um, so this makes me think that not only do I want to try to date queer women who identify as queer or something like that, not only for physical reasons, because I want someone who is going to appreciate all aspects of me, including various aspects of my body, but also I want to date a queer woman, I've discovered, because of these social or gender role issues. Like there's one woman that I've dated recently who, as I said, did I say it here or was that in the previous take of this video that I didn't use? Anyway, but she has spent a lot of years in the lesbian community, and I could tell that the role expectations were more of what I'm used to. And I felt more comfortable, more open, more at ease, less annoyed. So, yeah, from my point of view, for somebody who has my past experience, my philosophies, I just really do not see it working out dating women who are basically straight. I unless they're like really liberal and they're like the kind of straight woman who has taken a bunch of women's studies classes, that type of thing maybe would work. But if they're more conventional straight women, I don't see that working. In the past, I was like, oh, that'd be so amazing to date a straight woman. That would be so validating for me, and it would just feel really exciting. But now I'm like, man, it seems like there's so much BS that goes along with that. Like, pff, hell no. So I'm looking for queer women. Um, let's see. Um, yeah, so this actually really relates to the video that I made just previously, where I talked about how I feel like, in some senses, like politically and experientially, I am kind of in the category of a woman. Not like literally, but in more of a philosophical, theoretical, political sense. So this whole dating stuff is part of what led me on that train of thought. So, kind of relating to that, I feel like, so I've got to be male physically. As you guys know, I feel so much better being on testosterone and having top surgery. So there's the physical aspect, but in terms of connections with other people or how I fit in with communities, I feel like the sort of lesbian or queer women community is like, that's what feels right for me for reasons like what I've already mentioned. So, as I was sort of writing about with somebody who commented on my last video, I almost want to say that I'm like a trans man who wants to date lesbians. Well, I don't mean strict lesbians who are like, women only, please, but lesbians who are sort of more like just queer women who date lesbians and trans men, because I have met a number of those. A lot of my friends are like that, or my exes. But anyway, okay. Other things I wanted to say. Oh, yeah, this is important. So, in the past, I have had some moments of thinking about getting lower surgery. And of course, a lot of what led me to think about that was just my own physical dysphoria. Um, but also, when I was thinking about lower surgery, I thought, well, if I had more of like a male stuff down there, maybe that would make dating easier, or I would have a bigger pool of women to date. And also, I have heard from at least one other trans guy on YouTube who said, or my interpretation of what he said was that this desire to um, have more people that you could potentially date was a big motivator for him to get phalloplasty. And so this dating experience, these experiences that I've had have given me new thoughts about that whole thing. My personal perspective at this point in time is that I'm like, oh my god, like, no, at this point, I really do not want to consider lower surgery just for the purpose of finding women to date, because, as I've said, for me, anyway, dating straight women, or mostly straight women, like women who are mostly straight, is the physical issues is the least of it. Like, there's other issues like these gender role crap that, oh my god, having this experience that I've had recently, it's like I can't imagine like going through surgery and like, yay, now I can date straight women, my life will be amazing. And then you date straight women and you're like, this goes against so much of my being, and it's weird, and I don't feel like I can be myself, and oh my god, what have I done? So, yeah, I don't think anybody should really. Well, I shouldn't say it that way. I should just talk about myself. I don't think that other people should come into play for my decision about lower surgery because you've got to just be comfortable with your body. And if you really need to get lower surgery to be comfortable with your body, just in and of yourself, then fine, yeah, sounds good. But if you're like, well, I'm comfortable with my body, but I'm gonna get lower surgery so I have more opportunities for dating people, like, not so sure that'll turn out well for you psychologically, so I just wanted to mention that. Um, so another thing that has come into my mind with all this is, are there gender roles, like traditional male gender roles, like little subtle things that you're supposed to do in your dating, for example, that I do not even know about at all, and that people have expectations about, and I'm not fulfilling the expectations, and they're like judging me or something, but I have no idea that the expectation even exists? From my standpoint now, I think that that could be possible, which is weird to think about. I think it really is significant that as trans people, we are not taught a lot of little subtle parts of gender role expectations. And on one hand, I think these traditional gender roles are complete crap. So it's like, why bother learning about it? But then on the other hand, other people that you have to interact with in your life are viewing you through a certain lens. And if you're sort of messing up according to what they expect, that could have some consequences sometimes. So it's a difficult situation. And then for me in particular, well, as I've told you guys before, um, my dad died when I was 8, and I've never had a stepdad or anything. So even now, if I wanted to learn about some of these things, like I'm not in the sort of traditional position of going like, "Hey, Dad, what do you think about this?" I mean, I can ask my brother, but what he has to go on is really his own experience because he had the same situation growing up that I did. And then friends, I mean, thankfully I have a pretty good guy friend right now, which historically I have not had. Um, yeah, so it can be hard to learn about everything, these gender roles. It's crazy how complex it is. And I always knew it was complex, but it's like even more so than I thought. Um, let's see, what else did I want to talk about? So let me just say a word to try to make it clear why I don't like the gender roles. It it's not just that I am like against paying for things. As I said, I'm happy to treat if it's my choice, but it's when these roles are sort of forced on you, and for whatever reason, it feels as if you don't have any choice, and especially if the role is not representing something about you. Yeah, if it's just not representing something about you, and if you don't enjoy it, that just really sucks. And these roles are artificial. Sometimes they can be fun. Like I think it feels nice to walk a woman to her car, but sometimes they just feel like barriers, um, just a sort of a wall between people, and it makes it harder to connect on a really genuine human to human level. So that's a lot of what makes me really not like them. So yeah. Now, I did come across, I did some online research about this paying for dates thing, because I was like, what is going on with this? I have no idea. And I came across a couple of articles that made steam come out of my ears because I was like, people actually think this? Like, this is the most insane thing I've ever read. It got into, like, here's what males have to offer in a relationship. Here's what females have to offer in a relationship. And they're opposites. And I want to share those with you guys, but obviously that would have to be a different video. Yeah. Anyway, so please share if you have any experiences that connect to any of this or any insights. So thank you for watching. Bye.